Hey folks, this is Vint with Dad's Gaming Addiction, and today we're going to check out Daybreak. This is a game for 1 to 4 players. It's for ages 10 and up, and the average play time is about 60 to 90 minutes. It's worth mentioning this is my first time attempting the game, so I might get a rule wrong or two, but as I always say, I'm here to spread awareness, have some fun, and show off some really cool games. We'll be attempting a solo playthrough today. Before we actually get started, I'll go ahead and show you the box insert and some of the components. This is the box insert. Everything is really trying to be eco-friendly here. You've got these, cardboard, whatever, paper boxes. There are some reference cards in here. These correspond to different countries that you can play as in this game. The goal being to reduce carbon emissions and save the planet. There are challenge cards in here that you can use if you want to. Being my first time out, I am not going to be doing that. Off to the left-hand side, there are 4 of these containers that came with the game. They just hold the various tokens and the like, and I'll explain what these do as we continue playing. As I mentioned, there are different countries that you can play as. There's the majority world, Europe, United States, China, and that's pretty much like your starter deck for that country. Each player will choose a country or faction, whatever, and they get a hand of starting cards that they will put right near their player board, and I'll get to that in a minute. So what are we doing in this game? Well, I kind of already hinted we're saving the planet. Over here on the right-hand side is a thermometer, and we're going to be filling this up with carbon emissions from bottom to top. And if it ever gets to the top, we lose. We also have 6 rounds to try and reach some type of like negative net carbon emission state where we need to be producing, we need to be absorbing more carbon emissions than what is called for. And if that ever happens, we flip this over into drawdown, which is pretty much, a sign that you're winning the game because you're absorbing more carbon emissions than, is being added over here, which is good. And to absorb carbon emissions, we start with like some trees and some water. That will change depending on the player count. And to that end, there's a variant other setups in the back of the rulebook. Big oversight in my opinion. In solo mode, there's no quote-unquote easier difficulty setting. So I went ahead and added some trees and oceans for myself. Instead of starting with 6 trees and 4 oceans, I gave myself, I think, an extra 4 of each just to slow down the rate at which carbon gets added over here to the thermometer. Whether or not that's too powerful, I don't know. Again, first time playing, but I don't like starting off on normal difficulty until I've actually learned how to play. So other things on the board here, there are these tokens here, and if this thermometer gets high enough, we'll be rolling this dice or this die during like the crisis step or whatever it's called, and depending on the result, we're going to be moving those tokens up. And on those spaces, you'll note like there's little symbols. Those are tipping points, and when a marker reaches a tipping point or a token reaches a tipping point, we observe the penalty in the upper right corner of that section. Typically it's very bad, so we're trying to avoid those kind of tipping point scenarios. We're going to be adding, like I said, carbon emissions over here to the thermometer from the bottom up. And as we go up the track, that will determine how many crisis cards will be added during like the beginning of a round, how many times we roll this die. So the more we go up, the more crisis cards we have to deal with, and the more times we have to roll this die. There's also this numbered die, which is used for, I think it's geoengineering or something, right? There are special cases in which we roll this. Whenever we get 5 cubes on a spot and we filled up the entire row, we're going to go ahead and add one of these little bars here to that to show that we've like sort of blocked that off. So there's that. What am I missing? Oh, in a 1-player game, you only use 1 column. In a 2-player game, you use 2 columns. In a 3-player game, you use 3. In a 4-player game, you use 4. So we're only going to be observing this first column here as we're filling up the emission cubes from bottom to top. We're going to be completely ignoring the second, third, and fourth column because we're not playing a 2, 3, or 4-player game. Let's get, excuse me, to the player board here. And each player board will be set up differently depending on the number of players. In the case of a solo game, Here's the reference card for that. You're going to start with 9 homes, which is this blue house here. It's on the number 9 space. That's how much energy is required by the residents in that town. That's their energy consumption. And then you start the game with 6 dirty energy and 3 clean energy. These tokens are double-sided, so they can double as either dirty or positive. So I've set that up here. And then you start with 5 dirty factories, cattle, vehicles, fracking, oil drills, garbage. So you're going to place those tokens out here. And for every one of these dirty buildings, energy, tokens, whatever, that's how much carbon will contribute to that thermometer, minus the trees and the water tokens that we have out here. Other cards may change that. There's also resilience tokens. In a solo game, you get 1 of each. Certain crisis cards will say, like, you know, reduce the penalty by 1 for every resilience of this type that you have, or some such. And then communities in crisis is something that we add as crisis cards tell us, or if we don't have enough energy to meet demand, we have to add these tokens. And it starts from left to right, and then to this row left to right, then this row left to right. We also lose the game if we ever fill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if one player fills like 12 of their spots, then they lose, and by extension everyone loses. This is a pure cooperative game. Players will be helping each other to save the planet. No competitive stuff here. So yeah, I start with 1 of these already, and hopefully we won't be adding any more, but I'm not going to promise that. On the other side is a quick overview of like the different rounds and what you do on a round. So there's a global part here where you add crisis cards, and we're going to just go ahead and do that now. And I'll explain what these cards do down here in a moment. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw 1 face up here, and then face down, and then face down. I know to draw 3 because we're right here on the, or actually we're right here, 1.2 degrees on the temperature track. And it's very hard to see, but on the right-hand side, it says 3 crisis cards there. As we start getting into this row, we have to roll this die in addition to the 3 cards. So we're trying to keep ourselves emission-free if we can. I don't see how you're going to do that in the first couple of turns, but we'll see how that goes. So we added the crisis cards, and now we're going to move on to start global project. To start a global project, that's what these cards over here are. You're going to draw 2, and then all players are going to vote on 1 that they want to keep. And these are good cards. These are like things that you can activate to help players out. Speaking of which, there are cards I had to remove. In a solo game, anything that like helps another player, like here's an example, it's kind of hard to see there, but there's a little like person with a red circle and a line slashed through it right below that QR code. All the cards that have that symbol on it will be removed from the game, and that includes cards from this blue deck as well. I'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, we're going to draw 2 of these project cards and vote on 1 to keep. And since it's just myself, I'll take a look and see which ones I want. But before you can use them, you have to tuck cards to activate them. This is players may discard cards tucked under here to draw 3 local project cards. They add 1 to their choice to their hand and discard the rest. And this one is each player draws an additional local project card each round during the global stage. So tuck to activate the pink one. Okay, so I think I'm going to vote on that one. Just having extra cards in hand is really good. So I'm going to go ahead and this is the global stage I think we're on. So it's not going to take effect now, but hopefully I can get a card tucked under here to get this for the following round. So I'm going to go ahead and choose this one and put it here. And hopefully we'll tuck a card under that during a future turn in order to activate it for the next round. All right, so now we did our global step, and now we're on to the local step. We draw 5 local project cards. So there is a huge deck of blue cards here. These are the local cards. Also, our starting hand here is the solo deck. So that's why these are out. So you will always start with these cards. And the way these cards work, it's kind of like in Terraforming Mars. These icons are super important, and typically they chain off each other. So whenever you play cards to your tableau, you can either put them up front or you can tuck the card behind the existing card. Only the card on top is active. So I can tuck cards behind this starter card, and for this symbol I have, I can discard a card and remove that much dirty energy per pink symbol that I have. So the more pink icons I tuck behind this card visibly, the stronger this action becomes. Now, it is possible that you can activate this and then put something over top of it and activate that. You can take as many actions as you want on your turn. You're pretty much, though, limited by cards in your hand because you only have so many cards, and a lot of these actions require you to discard cards. So you're going to start with these, and I'm going to draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, if I get this activated on my next turn, I'll be able to draw 6 instead of 5. So let's take a look at these cards in hand. And now we get to play cards and take actions in any order. We're still in the local phase there. Okay, so the crisis card over here that is face up, we are allowed to read that and possibly tuck things here in order to possibly reduce crap. So this says we'll lose 2 dirty energy. The player with the most dirty energy loses 2 dirty energy tokens. If they can't meet energy demand, they must add communities in crisis, which is these here, equal to the demand gap. Reduced by 1 per purple card tucked. So a purple icon tucked. So if I tuck a bunch of, at least 2 purple symbols, then I'll be able to take care of that. But that's not terribly bad because maybe I want to get rid of my dirty energy right away to prevent this emissions over here. I just have to make sure I'm producing clean energy through some other means to offset that. Speaking of that, again, I've got 9 energy here and 9 demand. This will go up through cards that I might play, and every round it's going to go up by 2 in the solo game. So next round I'll have to deal with 11 demand plus whatever else I might play that might increase that. So again, these are the cards I have in my hand, and I could say tuck that under here to reduce the effect by 1. I don't know if I want to do that yet, but if I play this on top of something, I can just gain a resilience, that's a social resilience, which may come into play through other things. This is a brown transportation resilience. Discard a card to draw 3 and keep 1. Draw 8 cards and then keep all cards that have a windmill or power tag. And this is another discard a card, draw 3, keep 1. So I'm not sure what I'd like, to be honest with you. I think I need to generate energy for next round. I think that's going to be very helpful to have. This card here is, if I can get green symbols tucked behind here, these little light electric cords, I can start drawing extra cards at the start of my turn, which is awesome. I also need a pink symbol tucked under here to activate this project for a future turn. So maybe I thought I had a pink one. I don't. I do have, here's this one. Clean Energy R&D. Discard a card to draw 5 and keep 1. Each round limit once per power symbol. So in theory, like, I could tuck this behind this and then activate this and then take this action twice, or I can just activate it now and do that 1 time. The question is, how many times do I want to do that? I feel like this is like the same as this, so I think just tucking this behind here to give me some free card draws would be awesome, but I can only keep 1 of them, which is kind of disheartening. But I think I really want something with a pink symbol on it so I can tuck it here and get more cards for next turn. But again, I have to keep in mind I'm trying to generate energy and reduce my emissions in the process. Here's another way to generate clean energy. If I discard a card, I get a clean energy per every one of these, I guess, power lines, tags that are on this card here. So do I have any cards that have that? No. I don't think I have anything that really jibes. This one will grant me resilience, which I have 1 of each right now, so I really don't care about that. This is only during global stage each round. So even if I tucked things under here for this round, I will not be able to do this until the next round anyway. So I'm pretty much like setting myself up for a bunch of cards on the next round. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to tuck this card under, well, maybe not that one. I'm going to tuck this card under here, I think. And, or do I want to do one of these other electric ones? Or maybe, no, I like that power one. All right, so maybe I do something like this. And I'm going to prep myself for next round so that at the start of the next global stage, I'll be able to draw an extra card. So I think I'm going to do that, tuck it behind there, keep that active. And I think I need to generate more energy. How am I going to generate more energy? This will give me 1, but I feel like I need more cards. So I think I'm going to discard a card in order to draw 5. I hate to discard these, but I feel like I don't have much of a choice. So I'm going to discard this one and just put this off to the side. And I'm going to do this. Draw 5 and keep 1. So I'm going to just draw 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I get to keep 1 of them. Okay, there's a pink one I might want. So I'm looking at that one. Direct air capture. Now this was not in the rulebook. I had to go on their website and figure out what this is. This acts like a tree. It's a separate token. It's in one of those containers. And it increases energy demand by 1, but adds one of those fan tokens to the board. And it acts like a tree or water token to reduce carbon emissions. But this allows me to remove, that's not bad either, to remove those these tokens, whatever they were called. And this one, plus, no, I think I want to keep this one and discard the rest. So I'm going to put those over here to the discard pile. And with this card that I just drew, I think I'm going to tuck it here so that it satisfies this symbol. It says 1 pink icon per player by anybody. So each player draws an additional local project card each round during the global stage. So yeah, just having +1 extra card here I think will be super helpful. So next round I'll be drawing like 7 cards, which is kind of nice. 1 from here and 1 from here. But I haven't really done anything to address energy. These aren't really that helpful, to be honest with you. I could play this over top this, and like, I don't know why, but like I could overwrite something and play one of these. A lot of clean energy R&D cards. So, I mean, I could add them here and just go all in card draws on my next turn. That would give me +2 for my next turn, but it doesn't do anything about my energy, which is awful. This gets rid of dirty energy, but I'm already doing that with that crisis card, so I don't really care all that much. This one gives me more resilience tokens per type that I have under here. So yeah, so this one is like, do I want to gain more resilience of pick one type, and I gain that many resilience tokens based on those symbols that are tucked underneath here. But I really don't need that right now. I mean, I could put that under here and possibly get 2 leaves or 2 of those if I really need them. That might not be bad. So just to prep myself in the future, I'm going to tuck this card under like this so that in the future I can discard a card, and then because I've got 2 bridges, I could gain 2 of these. Or because I've got 2 of these green leaf symbols or whatever plants, I can gain 2 of those leaf resilience tokens. So I think I'm setting myself up there pretty good. That leaves me with this stuff. And I mean, in hindsight, I may have wanted to tuck that under here to make this more powerful, but I kind of want to get more power here. And I can do this as many times as I want. I can discard these 2 cards and do this repeatedly and just get 2 energy. 1 for the 1 discard and then 1 for the 2nd discard by playing this twice. I could do that, and that would set me up for future power issues for the next round. So maybe I do that just to be proactive about that. It pains me to do that because I wish I could make that more powerful, but that's the hand I was dealt. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to discard my last 2 cards, and there is no hand limit, by the way. And I'm going to take this action twice, and I get 1 green energy, or 1 green clean energy token per power line. So I get 2 of those because I got 2 actions. So I'm going to take 2 from the container here and go 1, 2. Okay, awesome. So now I am out of cards, and now we move on to emissions. We're going to check demand and see how that works. So now we have to count how many brown tokens we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. We have 20 of those, which isn't very nice. Okay. So what we do typically is add recent emissions up here. So I'm going to just put 5, 5, 5, and 5. And brown cubes count as 1, whereas those square ones count as 5. Okay. So if I did that right, I counted 20 of those brown tokens. Add carbon to recent emissions. Okay. Well, we did that already. And then sequester carbon, meaning now we're going to sort of break it up across the board. Again, I gave myself extra water tokens and extra tree tokens at the beginning of the game. I think it was 4 of each. So I have 10 trees and 9 water. I think that's what I did. Quick cut. I realized I gave myself too much of an advantage. I gave myself way too many trees and oceans for easy mode. Because I was like, all I needed were like 3 more emission reductions in order to win the game, and that's just kind of silly. I could probably do that by round 2. So I went ahead and only gave myself an extra 2 trees and an extra 2 water, so I have less trees and less water to start with. And again, if you want to take a look at the setup chart, this is it. I should start with 6 trees and 4 oceans, but I have 8 trees and 6 oceans here. Again, 2 more of each just to sort of give myself an extra leg up for this learning game. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're supposed to do next. We're going to check demand. Again, that was the power demand, and we clearly met it. We have 11 compared to the 9 needed. Any deficiency there, we'd have to add these tokens, which is bad. Add carbon to recent emissions, which is this. We already did that. There's 20 up here based on the 630 energy and the 14 of these other tokens here. Sequester carbon, 20 versus this 14 means we add 6 over here. So here's 5 and a cube for 6. The rest of the carbon gets sucked in by the natural plants and waters from Earth and go back over there to the container. But because we filled this up, we're going to, we don't need that many, just 1, thank you very much, and fill that in. So now in the future, we have to now do this next line up, which is 3 crisis cards and roll the planetary effects die. Speaking of which, crisis, resolve the planetary effects, which is the die. So we're going to roll this and see what it says. It is the fish here, so we're going to move that up by 1. It did not hit a tipping point, so we don't do anything else. Otherwise, we would resolve that effect there. Next, we resolve the crisis cards, starting from the top and working their way down. So we're going to look at this one, and this is saying, oh goody, +1 of these, I can't remember their names, community and crisis. So the player with the most industry emissions tokens adds, which is these brown factory ones here, adds 1 community and crisis per temperature band. Well, we have a temperature band here. Ignore if no player has any of this type. Reduce by 1 per resistance. Okay, so I have a purple resistance here, and I only do this once because there's only 1 temperature band here. And so I would typically get 1 token added, but because I have this reduced by 1 per each resilience, I don't do anything. So this is a wash. Nothing happens with that card. The next one is kind of the same thing. Infrastructure meltdown. This is a climate communities in crisis per temperature band kind of situation, but it wants this brown transportation or infrastructure one, which I have. And so 1 minus 1 is 0, so I don't do anything negative there. These really come in handy. And then the one we knew about is resolved last. And by the way, you cannot tuck cards under face down crisis cards, but there may be cards in here, I don't know, that allow you to flip those crisis cards face up so that you can then tuck things under here. But we didn't do this. We did not reduce by 1 for each purple icon tucked, so we have to do this. The player with the most dirty energy loses 2 dirty energy tokens. If they cannot meet energy demand, they must add communities in crisis equal to the demand gap. So that means we have to lose 2 dirty energy and go like this. And we still have 9 to 9, which is why we needed to add that energy earlier. So we're still good. We don't add any of these tokens here. And that resolves the crisis step. And now we move on to growth. Check for victory. We are not, we're still producing positive emissions. We cannot absorb all of them yet, so we still move on. Advance the round marker, so we're on round 2, and increase energy demand by 2 for solo mode. So now we have to produce 2 more energy to meet that requirement there. Okay, so in round 2, we're back up to the global step. We're going to add crisis cards. One is going to go face up, which is a freshwater crisis. The player with the lowest ecological resilience loses 1 social resilience. In the solo game, lose just 1 social resilience. Ignore if a money symbol is tucked under here. We may want to do that unless we can produce a purple one to offset the one that we're going to lose. And then 1 goes there and 1 goes there face down. And we only draw 3 because we're still on this here. Okay. Start a global project. Okay, well, let's go ahead and do that. 1 and 2. Okay, so we have a choice to make. Do we want loss and damage fund or nuclear fusion? So if I take a local action, like play one of these blue cards, and then take their action, that uses the nuclear tag. That generates clean energy tokens. They double that number by 2. Okay, interesting. So I get extra power if I activate a card with that tag on it. Or players may discard cards tucked under here to reduce the effects of a crisis card for everyone targeted. Reduce the effects by 1 for each card discarded in this way. I kind of like that as an oh crap kind of thing. So I can, any cards I can't use here, I'll tuck here and possibly use them to offset that. So I think I'm going to pick that one. And this is going to get discarded, which I'll just put here. Okay. And I think you can only have 4 global projects at a time. Let me go ahead and move these down. Oh, speaking of which, the global here. It says each player draws an additional local project card each round during the global stage. So I get to draw an extra card in addition to my 5 that I get. Plus I get during the local, at the beginning of my turn, because I've got 2 of these electric cord tags, I get to draw a card. Limit only during global stage each round. So I'm going to draw 2 cards, 1 for this one and 1 for this one. And then we're going to move on to the local, which is draw 5 local project cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 7 cards as opposed to 5, which is super helpful. And it should be on the 11 here. Okay. And now we get to play cards and take actions in any order. All right, well, let's see what we got. Oh, there's that money symbol that we needed to take care of this, which I may want to do just because I get this one lets me get resilience tokens per this, but I already have this down here, which allows me to discard a card to get 2 of them because I've got a lot of bridges. So I think I'm going to get rid of this one over here and tuck it so that I can ignore that crisis coming up. All right, so that takes care of that one. And, ooh, what is that? Once per round, roll the, is that the geoengineering die? And then add 1 per every cloud wrench symbol tag you have in that row. On a total of 2 to 4, get rid of one of these, but is that add 2 crisis cards? Is that what that is? Ugh. How is that good? Return bans to temporary. Oh, return bans to the thermometer at the end of the round. So that's sort of to get rid of like the. It's a temporary measure to get rid of like extra crisis or extra dice rolls, probably. I'm tempted, but we'll see what else I got first. Carbon, capture, and storage. We need to start getting rid of once per round from your own emissions during the emission stage. Interesting. So if I have this, if I get a lot of power symbols, I can overwrite this and start working on these power symbols, and I can get rid of these brown cubes, but I have to discard 2 cards to do it. Oof. Wow. This is only good if I can get a lot of power symbols behind it. So that's a thought. This gives me resilience tokens, but I kind of took care of that, so I don't need to worry about that yet. This direct air capture is, that might actually pair with that other one I got back there. So discard a card and raise energy requirement by 1 to get one of these on the board, but that puts me at risk for this, and I really don't, I'm not excited about that. Jeez, whenever you take an action that adds +2 or more, you may remove, oh, interesting. So if I can take an action that adds 2 purple fist resilient social things, then, wow, I can remove that. But I don't, these aren't bad cards, it's just decision paralysis. I really don't know what to do with this. Like, I could maybe pair that with that other thing, but I really want to get rid of, these if I can. But I don't think I have any cards that really let me do that yet. I could get rid of dirty energy, but I need to produce 2 energy here. Let's see if I can get more of these. I want to get more of these electric cable tags, but I don't think I have any of, no. Even with all those extra cards, I'm trying to produce power, and I'm having a really hard time doing it. Getting rid of dirty energy at that point is kind of silly because I can't even produce enough clean energy to get up to that point. I could take this action twice again and move myself up to 11. I suppose I could do that. But that just seems kind of wasteful. I need 3 of this little bank tag thing in order to even use this. So this is going to be one of those throwaway cards that I'm not going to use ever, I don't think, unless I use it for one of these symbols. I could also tuck that behind this to make those resistances even more powerful. And because I'd be producing 2 during that action, this other one might kick in. I think I'm going to do that. I'm not going to remove this. I don't think this gets rid of dirty energy. I'm having a hard time with my energy right now. So I'm thinking I cover that up. And, well, this one, I don't know what to do. Okay, so maybe, all right, let's do this. Let's draw 5 and keep 1. What card don't I want for sure? Unique Versa. Okay. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah, let's get rid of that one and just draw 5 and keep 1. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And my goal, really, I'm looking for those power symbol thingies, which, of course not. There's this windmill thing, but that's not going to do anything for me. That's awful. Jeez. Who shuffled these cards? That gives me resilience. Remove. Ooh. That's not bad. Just remove this. That's not... But we have a way of doing that already. Maybe we do that and just stick that on top of something, and just anytime we need to remove something, we just use that. Each round limit once per... that. So is there one that, yeah, I don't know. This is methane removal. Another, it's the same thing as one I have. And it's just, okay, I think we keep this one. Although, yeah, so, yeah, oh man. Well, here's the thing. All right. I kind of want this in my back pocket to have it for this here. I don't have any way of removing those yet. So, because I could, this is an automatic thing. Then do I really need this? This is maddening. This is absolutely maddening. All right, so maybe I look at cards for their tags instead. This is good because, I mean, there's a couple of windmills there. I could maybe add this to here and get more cards for a future draw. Maybe I take something with a power symbol on it so I can put it behind here and use this action more often because my cards have been really bad. So I think I'm going to take this one. I know, I probably did a mistake somewhere, but I'm going to take that one so I have it. And I feel like just tucking that right away under here so that I can then on a future turn, future round, because I've got 2 of these cards, so I might as well just tuck one of them under here for their power symbol, like so. And now on a future round, I can do this twice, assuming I've got the cards in my hand to do so. Okay. Direct air capture. I really don't... Now I've got enough for this, but yeah. I feel like this is good if I can roll well. But this adds more crisis cards. Like, that's not good either. Like, why would I do this? I'd have to try and guarantee a 7 or higher to avoid any negative. That just seems kind of off to me. Why would I want to add crisis cards? It doesn't, yeah, I just, why would I want to do that? Just to remove those temporarily? Okay, well, maybe I go in on the resistances for right now until I figure out what else to do. So maybe I go with my original plan, and I'm going to go ahead and tuck this one under here so that I've got 2 of these purple fist symbol things. And I can add this somewhere so that I can start removing these. So the question is, do I cover this up or do I leave it? I feel like energy and I are just not getting along this round. I'm actually going to discard these 2 to just get 2 energy, 2 green energy. So 1, 2 from this action here. 1 and 2, just so we meet the status quo for now. And very finicky. Okay, that leaves us with those 2 gone, and then we've got these 2 cards left. I could maybe I kind of like this one. Discard 2 cards to reduce. See, I could put that, actually do this. 2 cards just to get rid of emissions. So like if I put this on top, limit once per round, I can get rid of 1 cube per energy symbol, which is, I can get rid of 3 emissions and prevent this from going up even further with this card. It sucks because I'd want to like discard and draw as many times as I can, but like this is another way of getting rid of carbon without getting rid of these. So maybe I do this with it. But that's a lot of commitment, and I only have 1 card left. So I wouldn't be able to play this anyway. So maybe I can keep these cards in my hand and just draw 5 more on the next. I feel like just keeping these so I've got more cards for my next turn. I think that's going to be the way to go. Okay, so to keep this video moving, now I could always tuck them under here, but I kind of want to keep these cards. So we are going to now, all right, so we're into check demand. So 11 demand, 11 power, we're good. Add carbon to recent emissions. Again, we're at 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 14 plus 4 is 18. I think we reduced it from that one crisis card before. So we have 5, 5, 5, and 1, 2, 3. All right, so that's 18 emissions there, 18 carbon, and then sequester carbon. So now, again, we've got 8, and then this is, and these tokens don't have to go here. They can go anywhere you want them to. 8 plus 6 is 14, so 18 minus 14 is 4. So we're going to add 4 cubes over here. That will fill this up, unfortunately, and add another ribbon to this spot. Okay. And that's that. And the rest go away. There was no carryover because it was exactly enough to fill that up. And if I had this card out, I could have stopped some of that, but I didn't. Adjust thermometer, resolve planetary effects. We have to roll this twice now per this. Actually, we are still here. Yeah, it still says twice. So the green one goes up by 1, no tipping point yet. And the green one again. So it is a tipping point. So this says add a black cube, emissions cube, per blue per player. I wish I could see what that was. Is there a recent emissions? Oh, add a black cube to this here per player. All right, 1. Per player, and get rid of a tree per player. So one of these trees goes away. Oof, nasty. So I lost a tree, and one of these got added here. Well, that's not good either. Okay, well, we rolled the die twice. That's all we needed to do. And that recent emissions goes down here. So now we're on that spot there. Okay, now we have to resolve crisis cards. And we're going to start from the top and work our way down. Okay, this is the player with the most communities in crisis loses 2 social. In the solo game, lose just 1 social resilience. Well, that's not good. You can't tuck this when it gets resolved, so I lose this, which is not good. All right, well, that's 1. And this one is, of course, we could have reduced this by 1, but we just lost that resilience. So we gain 1 of these per ribbon that are here. Okay, well, there's 1, 2 ribbons, so we add 1, 2 of those community and crisis tokens. 1, 2. Okay, and that takes care of that. We need to start using this card more often now. Okay, and now the one we knew about. We did tuck this. It's a good thing we did. Otherwise, we'd have to lose, well, the purple, which... Oh, if you try to lose something and you can't, I'm pretty sure that you have to add another community in crisis, but don't quote me on it. Oh, yeah, it just says in a solo game, just lose 1. Okay, yeah, okay. So we tucked this. It's just going to go discarded, and this is going to go over here, and nothing happens. Okay, and now we move on to growth. Check for victory now. Advance round marker. We're on round 3. And increase energy demand by 2, so we're up to 13. All right, well, we're getting nowhere fast. So we're going to go to the global, which is add crisis cards. So we're going to add 1 here. It's another freaking ribbon, but it wants green here. So we've got a green resilience, so we're okay. So as long as one of these other 2 do not remove it. Okay, and there's that. And next we get to draw 2 project cards and choose 1. Okay, so this global solar radiation management is kind of the same as the other card. We're going to roll the die, and on a number roll of like 8+, we remove 2 ribbons. The result is temporary. Return the bands to the thermometer at the end of the round. Ugh. And we have to tuck a lot of things to even activate this. Industrial emissions. Players may discard 1 card from their hand to remove 1 industry emissions token from their board. Players may do this any number of times they like each round. Okay. So maybe I focus on... I'm going to take that and get rid of some of these nasty factory ones with a bunch of cards that I may draw. So it's going to put that one back. Okay. And at the end of the global step, we get 1+1 card for that and +1 card for this. And right now, we don't have a fourth one yet, so we don't get a -1 card draw this round, which is good. But if we add any more to this row, we get -1 cards for our hands and then -2 for this row down here. But we still get to draw 5 because we're not there yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And these are the two that we had. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm due 1 card. Or not. Here we go. Yeah, it was down here. Okay. So we should have 8 cards. 2 from the last round and... Actually, no, we should have 9. 2 from the last round and 7 from this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4... Okay, we've got 9. Okay, just miscounted. So we've got a lot of cards, and now we need to figure out how do we get rid of this emissions problem that we've got. I could just go crazy and tuck cards here to get rid of 5 whole emissions. That would probably do it. Again, we're playing on an easier setting, so that would probably do it for us. I don't foresee myself ever playing that, so let's just pick what cards we're gonna do. I kind of want to play this somewhere. Yeah, I'm going to play that because we don't have anything that gets rid of, or we still have an energy issue. So I'm thinking we get this recovery coordination and just put it over top of this. Yeah, I think we do that. And whenever you take an action that adds +2 purple resilience or more, you may remove one of these. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do this action here, which is discard a card. Which one don't I want? I don't think I want this one. Yeah, because I don't want any more of this nonsense. So I'm going to discard this card. And it says I get to add plus purple per handshake symbol. I've got 2 of them. So I get to add 2 of those purple resilience tokens. So I've got 2, which is great. But now this says whenever you take an action that adds 2 or more of those purple things, you may remove one of these. So I'm going to go ahead and remove one of those for free. Okay, very helpful. I don't think I need this because I've got this card already. So I'm going to use that toward that card up there. And this, I've been wanting to play this too, but I'm thinking, yeah, once per round, get rid of, I'd have to keep 2 cards in my hand. Yeah, these are just awful. I think I'm going to play, I'm going to keep, yeah, I'm going to play this here, like so. And let's just do these 2 cards here. And I'm going to keep these 2 cards in hand for this emission step. Okay, so I'm going to tuck 1, 2, 3, 4 cards that I could use them for their symbols. Oh, there's this. Oh, I forgot about power. Yeah, we should probably do something about that. Okay, so let's rethink. This one is the symbol I need for this. So I'm going to tuck that under here. Now I can discard a card and gain energy, 2 energy per an energy per symbol. So I'm going to be able to just discard 1 card, which I'll just discard this one. And now I can just gain 2 energy. I don't have to discard 2 cards this time. So 1, 2, and I'm up to here. And I've got less to work with now. I need to keep 2 cards for this step, but I think it's worth it. So I'm going to get rid of these 2 and tuck it under this industrial emissions reductions investment. Players may discard 1 card from their hand to remove 1 industry emissions token from their board. Players may do this as many times as they like each round. Well, I'm going to discard these 2 to remove 2 of these factories there. It's only going to work 3 more times because I only have 3 factories left, but so it goes. But hey, that's less carbon emissions, right? And I've got these 2 set aside for that card there. Okay, so now we move on to the emissions. So we're going to check demand. We're at 13 demand, 13 power. We're good. Next, we move on to add carbon to recent emissions. We're at 4 here, and 12 here is 16. 15. 16, and okay, we've got 7. We lost a tree from the last round. 7 and 6 is what, 13? 13. So what we can do now is play this, which is during the emissions phase. Discard 2 cards to remove a brown cube per light bulb tag. I've got 3 of them, so I'm going to remove 3 cubes. So I'm going to discard these 2 and get rid of 3 as well. So this is going to be 7 plus the 3 is 10 plus 6 is 16. This is exactly 16. So this round, no new ones got added over there. And I believe that means that we check for victory. No, not yet. Because we didn't, after you sequester carbon, if you have 0 carbon cubes in the recent emissions area, and there are remaining uncovered trees, oceans, you have reached an important milestone, drawdown. Okay, so that means that we can continue, like we're now in drawdown mode. We're going to keep doing the round, but so as long as the crisis cards don't kill us, we'll pretty much just win at the end of the round. So we're going to go ahead and now move on to resolve planetary effects. So this, again, this could still kill us here, because this might add carbon from this dice. So that could be bad. So we're going to roll that. It's frost. There's a tipping point. Q 2 of those brown cubes to the emissions. Ooh, okay, well that's bad. Okay, and then we have to do that one more time because we're on this here. It's another fish. Lose an ocean per player. So it's just myself, so I lose 1 there. And that was the 2. Now here's the thing. These get added over here. So I don't think that I am in drawdown anymore. Removing these cubes may help you survive the crisis stage. Yeah, well, we broke even. If you can survive 1 final crisis stage. Oh, interesting. Well, what happens, though, if you... Yeah, it doesn't... I mean, I have to read this further. But what happens if the dice cause new ones to be added? That's the thing. All right. Well, we can always play 1 more turn just for the fun of it. But it seems like we're on the right track here. But now we have to resolve the crisis stuff anyway. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so we're going to move on to resolve planetary effects. So we did that, and then resolve crisis. So from this one, so we've got 2 ribbons. The player with the lowest infrastructure resilience adds 1 community in crisis per temperature band, reduced by 1 per transportation. So we have 2 of these and only 1. So I have to add 1 of these to this. Good thing we got rid of that one. That's 1. This one is every player loses 1 resilience transportation. So that's gone, unfortunately. That goes up there. And lastly, every player adds 1 community in crisis per temperature band. Unfortunately, I've got only 1 of these, so I have to add that there. My community in crisis is now here. So technically, I would only draw 6 cards at the start of the next round as opposed to 7. So yeah, that's nasty. Okay, next we check for victory. But here's the thing, like, I'm a little confused. I mean, we did add emissions because the dice had us add emissions, but I'm really curious now if that actually comes into play. If the round marker shows drawdown at this point, you win. So, I mean, did I win? Would the dice have added... I'm wondering if the dice would have caused this to flip back over, because technically we did add more missions. But I think the video has gone on long enough. I think with the next round or 2, I probably would have been able to come back from this and just win the game, because I was pretty close anyway. So, like, I'm going to call that a win. But again, keep in mind, this is an extra easy mode setting, so yeah, take that for what you will. So Daybreak, like, first impressions, it's interesting. I like the idea of the cards like, this reminds me of a board game called CV, in that players are like building a resume, and they have like cards in front of them that they can either tuck behind or tuck in front and get different tokens or different like dice effects, like stuff like that. This game is something similar in that regard, in that you're either tucking behind or putting it in front for their active effect. I like that. This game, I feel like with bad RNG, it can escalate very quickly. And that's my only complaint with it. Like, I had to put this on an easier difficulty setting. I can only imagine how badly it would spiral out of control if I hadn't done that. And I have to also consider, like, again, if you get some really bad cards from the deck, like look at all these cards. Look how many cards are still in here. So I have to wonder, like, are there cards in here that really would have helped me? Or, like, I didn't see a whole lot of power ones. I don't know. So, like, I'm worried that, like, it's possible to lose this game just due to sheer bad luck rather than... But then again, Pandemic was kind of the same way. It's very possible that you could just lose Pandemic because the cards were not nice to you. So, like, you know, part of me is kind of, like, worried about the whole RNG element, but the other part of me is like, well... a lot of other games are doing it, so you know what I mean. So like I liked the theme. The components were good. I don't like the fact that the one card type was not mentioned in the rulebook. I had to go online and find it, and that was this. If I could find it in here, it was that fan one. This direct air capture. I couldn't find that in the rulebook anywhere. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I'm old. It's possible, but I didn't. I checked twice and I couldn't find it. I had to go on their website, and there was a whole article about it. So one part of me is wondering, like, well, maybe that's where the QR codes come in. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't want to do that while I'm playing. But anyway, I mean, it's a cool idea. Don't get me wrong, but like, it just breaks the immersion if I have to keep using my phone to QR code check everything. But I like it. Some of these cards felt a little off, like the ones that remove these and then re-add them, but on a bad roll you're going to add more crisis cards. Just the one card that lets you remove these temporarily, but on a really bad roll you have to add more crisis cards. That doesn't seem very balanced to me. I would remove that mechanic altogether. I don't like that RNG. I would have preferred the card just give you a flat, remove this ribbon for this round, and that's it. No dice rolls needed, no nothing. Just you remove that and maybe just the one. If you really want a dice roll, great, but maybe lessen the amount of crisis cards that you would draw or something like it. I don't know. Just again, everything's based on luck. Like, you know, how lucky do you feel with that? Like, I would never play that card ever. I would look at that card and I'm like, well, I'm just going to throw that away or use it as an icon for something else. So like part of me is like, some of these cards I would never use, and that's a shame. I love the idea of these project cards where players can vote on them and they can decide, you know, which ones do I want to enable, you know. And what's weird is, like, again, some of these projects require these tags in a play area, but what if you never draw cards of that tag? Especially in a solo game. Maybe in multiplayer where more cards are being drawn, I can see, okay, maybe there's a better chance of that happening. But in a solo game, like, well, what if you never draw those those tags? Some of these, there's like, I saw somewhere there was a percentage of how many tags were in the deck, or cards that contain those tags. And some of those tags are like 10%, 11%. I didn't get this once. What if I said, oh, this is a great one, and put it in there, and then I never got to do it because RNG, I didn't draw the right cards. So, like, part of me doesn't like that. I love this idea, you know, with the whole dirty and clean energy. And I wish, though, that the game actually gave you the option, like in Power Grid, where you can, like, start with, like, dirty energy and build more dirty energy. Even that's going to hurt the environment. You can possibly get dirty energy for super cheap, but then, like, that hurts you later on. But then, you know, I wish there were more ways to remove these. I did not see a single way to remove cars or cattle, buildings, trash, this other one. Like, I look how large this deck is. So, like, part of me felt like the strategy is going to change every single time I play because it's based on the cards that you draw. And part of me is like, well, what if I don't? It's like it's ramrodding me into a particular strategy and forcing me to adapt. And that's not a bad thing, but at the same time, like, well, what if I want to try a different strategy? What if I want to try and focus on this? Well, I won't be able to do this until I get lucky enough to draw the cards that I need to do that. What if I want to try this strategy next time? Well, I can't because I only drew these cards and I'm ramrodded into this particular strategy. So like, I'm like back and forth with this, I guess. I like it and I will keep playing it and I still recommend it. I feel like, though, that, again, this was a missed opportunity here. There should have been, come on. It's like, you know, you're going to give easy mode to everybody here based on world powers and the like for 2, 3, and 4 players, but you're not going to bother helping out us solo people. I'm sorry, but like, I'll house roll. It's fine. I don't mind house rolling and I don't mind crumbling up rule books and throwing them in the trash as I see fit. I do what I want because it's my game. But at the same time, like, why not? Why wouldn't you add an easier or hard mode to this? Yes, you can add the challenge cards to make it harder, I suppose. But my point is, and by the way, the challenge cards are kind of listed here in case you're curious about it. But if I had to just make a recommendation for first-time players, maybe add 2 trees and 2 water, 2 ocean tiles like I did for this game. Or if you think that's too much, maybe 1 of each, maybe like 7 trees and 5 oceans. That'll give you 2 extra emission reductions when the time comes. But I feel like this advances way too much. Something else you could do to house roll this to sort of lengthen the game a little bit. When you're playing with 1 player, go ahead and use 2 columns rather than 1. Yeah, it might break the game a little bit because it's going to take longer for this to come up, but at least it'll slow down the rate at which this fills up. And at that point, you're just racing against the timer here before round 6 is over to get your emissions under control. Maybe do that. Maybe, you know, maybe ignore this so much over here by, do 2 columns or 3 columns. That way this doesn't fill up as quickly and that's less dice that you're rolling to move these up. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's a number of ways that you can make this game easier and more manageable for first-time players. The Crisis deck is hit or miss. Like, 1 card is face up, 2 are face down. And what if you just get screwed? Like, 1 removes the one thing, and then the next card, you know, you needed it. You needed that resilience in order to stop it, but you couldn't, like it happened to me. So, like, again, there's a lot of bad luck RNG in this game. So, like, I wish the game were a bit more strategic. And I wish the game weren't so, what's the word I want to use? I wish it weren't so tunnel vision-y and that I have to follow a particular path based on the cards that I draw. I would love to try out different strategies, maybe focus on reducing emissions by removing these, but I couldn't do it because I really didn't draw the cards I needed to do that. So again, a lot of RNG, but I love the theme. I love the art style. I like the game itself. It's just, there's a couple of things that I would probably keep as house rules in order to continue playing this. I think the standard rules might be a bit too unforgiving, especially if there's bad RNG involved. So that was Daybreak. If you guys haven't already, subscribed to me on Twitch and YouTube. That way you can stay up to date with any new content I happen to publish. This is Vince. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you all next time. Take care.